Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Lisa, and today we're diving into a topic that might leave you scratching your head, especially if you're someone who observes religious traditions or you're just curious about how people celebrate different days during Holy Week. So, the big question today is, can you eat meat on Good Wednesday? I mean, we've all heard about Good Friday, but Good Wednesday? Is it really that big of a deal when it comes to food restrictions? Let's find out together. First, let's talk about Good Wednesday itself. Now, most people are familiar with Good Friday, the day that marks the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. But Good Wednesday? Well, it's actually part of Holy Week and holds special significance in some Christian denominations, especially the Eastern Orthodox Church. Good Wednesday, or Holy Wednesday, falls right in the middle of Holy Week, usually a couple of days before Good Friday. It's considered a day of reflection and repentance, and in some traditions, people commemorate the events leading up to Jesus' arrest and betrayal. Some Christians remember the woman who anointed Jesus' feet with expensive oil, which is a pretty powerful symbol of devotion. Now, while Good Friday has a very strong and clear focus on Jesus' suffering and crucifixion, Good Wednesday isn't as widely talked about. However, it's still very important in some religious circles because it serves as a reminder of the events that happened just before Christ's ultimate sacrifice. So, it's a day to reflect on both the sorrow and the devotion surrounding this time. Now, when it comes to food, Holy Week is a time of fasting and self-discipline for many people. And this is where things get a little tricky because, well, food restrictions tend to vary depending on which tradition you follow. In the Catholic Church, for example, there are some very specific rules when it comes to fasting during Lent. Fridays during Lent and, of course, Good Friday itself are strict fasting days. No meat, no indulgent foods. But what about Good Wednesday? Should you be avoiding meat that day too? Well, the short answer is, it depends on your tradition. Not all Christians observe food restrictions on Good Wednesday. In fact, some Christian denominations don't have any major prohibitions when it comes to eating meat on Good Wednesday. The rules really depend on where you're coming from religiously. So, let's get into it. Can you eat meat on Good Wednesday? The answer really depends on the Christian denomination you follow. For example, in the Catholic Church, Good Wednesday isn't usually a day with strict fasting rules. You won't find any official mandate saying you can't eat meat today. That said, Catholics who observe the traditions of Lent and Holy Week may choose to fast on certain days, which could include Good Wednesday, but it's not as strictly enforced as, say, Good Friday. On the other hand, in the Eastern Orthodox Church, which places a high emphasis on fasting during Holy Week, Good Wednesday can be a day of fasting, and this typically involves avoiding meat, dairy, and sometimes even oil and wine. For Orthodox Christians, fasting isn't just about avoiding food. It's a way to spiritually prepare for the solemnity of Good Friday and Easter. So, in those traditions, you definitely avoid meat. But why all the fasting and food restrictions? What's the purpose behind it? Great question. Fasting has a long history and many religious traditions, and for Christians, it's a way to grow closer to God. During Holy Week, fasting allows you to detach from the everyday indulgences that can distract you from the meaning of the days. In many ways, fasting is a way of showing solidarity with Christ's suffering. Remember, Jesus fasted for 40 days in the desert, so fasting during Holy Week is a way to imitate his sacrifice. Fasting is also meant to help Christians reflect on their own spiritual lives. It can be a time to let go of things that aren't serving you, whether that's unhealthy habits, distractions, or in this case, certain foods. Fasting helps you focus on what truly matters, your faith, reflection, and repentance. It's not just about giving up food. It's about making room for God and being mindful of the sacrifice Jesus made for humanity. So, even if you're not fasting from meat on Good Wednesday, maybe you're giving up something else, or taking time for deeper reflection and prayer. Now, here's the big question. What if you really want to eat meat on Good Wednesday? Is it the end of the world? Well, no, at the end of the day, it's about what's in your heart and your personal connection with your faith. If you've been fasting during Holy Week or Good Wednesday specifically, eating meat might feel a little out of sync with the purpose of the day. But if you're not observing the fast strictly and you still want to enjoy a regular meal, then that's okay too. It's really all about your intentions. Everyone's faith journey is different, and sometimes life gets in the way of perfect fasting, so don't beat yourself up over it. If eating meat on Good Wednesday aligns with your spiritual practice and you feel at peace with it, then it's ultimately a personal choice. Ultimately, whether or not you eat meat on Good Wednesday is a personal decision that reflects your own religious tradition, your level of devotion, and your understanding of what this day represents. The most important thing is to honor the spirit of the day, whether that's through prayer, fasting, or acts of kindness. So, as you approach Good Wednesday, remember to reflect on the spiritual significance of the day. Whether you're fasting from food or from other distractions, make sure your actions align with the meaning of this holy time. And don't forget, this is a season of growth, reflection, and renewal. That's all for today's video. I hope this helped clear up any confusion about eating meat on Good Wednesday and provided some insight into the fasting practices of different Christian traditions. If you found this video interesting or helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching and have a blessed Holy Week. Take care.